Now, we'd like to start the first session of this contest. Let us welcome the first speaker. The first speaker is Ms. Momo Ohji. Her speech title is Hearts of Hospitality or Hearts with Hostility. Hearts of Hospitality or Hearts with Hostility. So, Ms. Ohji, please come up to the stage.
Sure. Thank you, Master of Ceremony and honorable judges. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. O-mo te na shi. I am sure that everybody has heard of this word before, at least once. In case you may not know, it means hospitality, the Japanese culture of welcoming customers and providing them a comfortable environment. This word became insanely popular since it shows how Japan looks after their guests from all over the world and warmly welcomes anybody and everybody. But are we really welcoming everybody? This speech is going to be about the importance of acting upon the spirit of hospitality in our everyday lives, welcoming not only the tourists, but also all of our foreign workers, especially from developing countries who are important guests in Japan. Foreign workers are fleeing Japan fast, and they are not happy. One day, I participated in a school event where I met a foreign worker from Myanmar. She was in her late 20s and had always dreamed of working in Japan. San was her name. I asked her, "Do you like it in Japan?" I expected her to talk about the food, the culture, the people, all the omotenashi Japan has in store for foreigners. However, she told me the way she was treated at her new workplace. A nightmare was how she described it. I was spat at and called worthless. I have bruises where my boss shook me, she said in tears. Just like that, the image of her dream country was brutally shattered. All of her friends, also being victims of this hostility, had already left the country. They had all come to Japan with the hope of finding a job, only to find themselves becoming a target for cold words and unkind glances in the streets. Go home, Gaijin. You don't belong here. According to the Asahi newspaper, 40% of foreign workers have experienced this kind of discrimination and worse. No wonder they end up losing hope in Japan. You may think, so what? If they dislike Japan, they always have the freedom of going back to their home countries. Who cares? Quite the contrary. We must care because we are immensely dependent on them. Consider Japan's rapidly shrinking population. According to the Japan Times, by 2030, Japan will have a shortage of over 6 million workers, especially in blue-collar jobs. Industries are in need of foreign workers for their willingness to work these jobs with minimum wage, because these are conditions that the Japanese do not even consider. Foreign workers are our saviors as well as our future. So, despite their willingness to work, why are foreign workers leaving Japan? This is because we are failing in providing the reasons they wanted to stay in the first place. According to an NHK study, 60% of foreign workers face racial harassment at their workplaces, while also being forced to work overtime with an illegally low wage. Obviously, a bad working environment on top of a country filled with cold-hearted people are not very tempting factors that would make people want to stay. Then, how can we prevent foreign workers from leaving this country? We must start providing them reasons to stay, ways they can feel welcomed, ways they will not lose hope in Japan. According to the Japan Times, tourists find Japanese hospitality one of the top reasons why they want to keep coming back to Japan. Our omotenashi skill is a globally recognized feature. However, we're not conscious of this in our daily lives. We think that this is only for the tourists. But I realized that omotenashi is for everybody. I mean, everybody should be able to feel accepted and welcomed in Japan. All we have to do is keep the spirit of omotenashi in our minds at all times, making every foreigner feel welcome, not just the tourists. Because foreign workers are also very important guests whom we are in need of. So one day, I plucked up the courage to start a conversation with a foreign worker in a nearby convenience store. Which country did you come from? I can still remember how her eyes widened and the broad smile she gave me when I spoke to her. It was her first year in Japan, but she shyly said, "Vietnam kara kimashita," in broken Japanese. You don't have to start from a conversation. Try smiling for a start. Smile at that Vietnamese convenience store worker. Smile at that Filipino supermarket lady. Say thank you. And then maybe ask them how their day is going, which country they come from. Simple acts of kindness or simple acts of showing that you care are strong enough to become reasons for foreign workers to become willing to stay. You may think that this is all meaningless, since it will not instantly improve their bad working environments. True, we need a major systemic reform by the government. Stricter surveillance of workplaces, proper safety nets for foreign workers and their families. However, we are yet far from this stage. Too many Japanese citizens are unaware and apathetic towards foreign workers. Thus, the government has been turning a blind eye to them for years. This is why every single person here needs to start by acknowledging this situation. Realizing their importance and showing it through acts of omotenashi is the first vital step that we can all take that will eventually lead to the improvement of treatment. There are so many foreign workers who have lost hope in. Now is the time for us all to act upon the spirit of omotenashi, welcoming all foreigners, regardless of their background. I no longer want foreigners losing hope in my country. Don't you want to be able to hold your head up high and say that your country is a welcoming place for everybody? It's about time we turn our hearts with hostility into hearts of hospitality, with just a glimpse of that smile. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ohji. Now we have a question and answer session. Mr. Tamura, please.
All right. Momo-san, thank you so much for your speech.
Thank you.
Thank you. How are you today?
I'm nervous, but I am in the comfort of my own home, so I'm okay.
Great, great. Yeah, you did a great job. Thank you so much for your wonderful speech. So you have raised an issue about foreign workers. And they are losing their hope in Japan. And I think this is a serious social issue in our country. Thanks for bringing that up. Thank you so much. So Momo-san, why do you think so many foreign workers are treated unfairly at their workplaces?
I think the major reason is because a lot of the foreign workers who come to Japan are from developing countries, and they work mostly in blue-collar jobs or jobs that are seen as low-skilled. And even though that does not mean that that the foreign workers themselves are low-skilled, I think that it breeds a kind of impression that the people are inferior and the people are, a lot of the Japanese look down on them because of what they work for.
Right, right. I think they are coming to Japan under the program called the Foreign Workers Intern Training Program, right? So they are allowed to stay in Japan for only 5 years at the longest. And they will have to go back to their own countries after that. What do you think of this system?
I think that the Japanese government isn't treating foreign workers as people, but more as workforces and just as a workforce. And this is because 5 years isn't enough time to give back the money that they foreign workers, in order to come to Japan, they have to pay a lot of money to a certain company or to their homes. So they 5 years isn't enough time to give back that money, and 5 years isn't enough time to get settled into that country. And if they find settlement in Japan in those 5 years, they have to immediately be sent back, and that is unfair to the foreign workers. And I think that is a very inhumane system.
Right, right. I see, I understand. Thank you. So you said Japan will have a shortage of 6 million workers, especially in blue-collar jobs in 2030.
Yes.
So how do you think the shortage should be filled?
So I do believe that women and elderly people should be placed more in the workforce. However, there is a limitation to that because women and elderly people cannot do blue-collar jobs that we are in shortage of, and in those. And we are in need of foreign workers, of young workers who are willing to work with minimum wage for the companies. So I believe that we should invite foreign workers more into the country, and they can help us with our shortage of workers.
Right. Yeah, thank you. Good job, Mo-san. That's all the question I have. Thank you so much. Good job.